ladies and gentlemen, it's a chess show on Pod TV. My name is Sasha Star, and our guests today are two professors. Uh, Ken Regan, welcome to the show,
Thank you very much for having me on in my office.
as always, and Dan Fleetwood, welcome to the show, Dan.
Hi, Sasha. Hi, Ken. On travel, as usual.
Have
Hi.
either of you seen Northern Lights?
I have not. We're just a little bit south, but I have seen many pictures.
Nice, beautiful. So obviously, we are going to talk today about FIDE World Cup. What else? And uh, I'm just briefly discuss with Dan about a lot of top people. I mean, the world class grandmasters are out, and is it kind of phenomenon when maybe they don't have enough motivation, or maybe the gap is incredibly high, and maybe it's not real between the top people and other grandmasters. Let's see, around 26 to 2700. Maybe they're not so much weaker than this top people. Ken, what's your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are general deflation in ratings. I have not tracked to see whether maybe some of the particular players are deflated from playing a lot of kids whose ratings were lagging by 400 points. But Jose Martinez in particular, because I was concerned with him, I formed an opinion that he's really in the high 2600s, not low 2600s.
Yeah, that explains a lot. Well, in the meantime, the tournament is continued and the fight is great. And I think this two Americans that are left, Savian and what's it? Savian, um, of course,
Aronian and
Onyuan
Shankland.
and Shankland.
Oh, yeah.
I think all of those three have great chances. Shankland is in very good form, it appears to me. Aronian is always in very good form.
He
And
has Eric Aisi, though. Yeah.
yeah, and we'll see what else. Savian, sometimes when he's in good form, he can beat almost anybody, and so I'm quite anxious to see what they will do in the last rounds. So, what you prepared for us to see, Ken?
So the theme I have is that to be a winner, you must get in touch with your inner beginner. So maybe the explanation for the gap that you're seeing is that the 2600 players are closer to when they were beginners, although the people I'm going to feature actually are not going to be confused with 2600 players. I'm going to start with Pentala Harakrishna. Oh, he's 2690. Okay, who plays a very enterprising game. He was one of the three most combative players in the 2019 FIDE Grand Swiss that I did. Marie Sebag and Alexei Shirov were the others in my test. So he is playing white against Arseny Nestorov. And we get into one of these two knights defense. I forget whether this is named after a town. It's not Scranton Wilkes-Barre variation, is it? But anyway, Aronian chooses.
It's not exactly like that, but it has elements. That's wow. This is brave.
Yeah, yes. It's and white makes it even braver by playing a move that is nominally bad according to the engine. I have the engine evaluations on purpose. Bishop c4 as usual. So it's even getting a question mark.
Goodness.
But this is combative chess and preparation. Well, black, of course, takes. And now the next move by black to obviously you have to do something to guard the knight. So black plays f5, which is going to give white compensation in the form of weaknesses in black's king. When knight c3, okay, and now black is supposed to play c6 and does. And here is the amazing point. Okay, now the engine is showing a half pawn advantage to black. And the engine wants white to play meekly with queen d3 and then black has time to untangle his army with queen e7. But Hare had prepared for just this kind of game. Now, it's a classical game. It's not one of the fast games. The queen sacrifice. Now, obviously, black takes the queen and goes here. So this is supposed to be bad for black. So we've sacrificed the queen, bad for white. We sacrificed the queen for 2 pieces. But it's actually not easy to play. Okay, if you're not booked up and prepared for this, this is a bit of a minefield. Okay, knight c6, most active, most natural move played on the board. But the next move that's going to come is not one that would occur to me. Okay, so I was prepared for the engine to show either b6 or queen c7. Queen c7, I must say, looks a little pointless to me. The queen's going away from the king side. What's it going to do? Eat white's knight? Well, it is maybe threatening knight takes e5. Maybe that's the point. But b6 seems really altogether too slow. Instead, black goes for a freeing move. Okay, but this now gives away some of black's advantage. But the idea with that, the active idea with this just happens not to work, even though I might commend it. Okay, so now we're getting threats against white's queen side, but actually the engine is now switched over to saying white stands better. So already justification for the queen sacrifice. White is going to castle and get 2 rooks to the open file. Meanwhile, black has actually buried that bishop on c8. So black plays knight e7, hoping to come in on some central squares. But now white has an enduring initiative. There isn't anything for black to do once you get there. Shed a pawn. Okay, black's knight comes in. But now white can play very calmly and undermine black's knight. So first rook here. And now, well, undermine black's knight. Why not just take it? So I would have thought white would play something with c3 in this position. But this is perfectly fine. And the problem is that black is facing bishop g5 check. And that's going to be bringing the king into the center of the board for mate with bishop c4. Okay, so black actually has to return the exchange right away. Okay, white takes the king as a fighting piece. And now we see white has 4 pieces developed. The rook's going to come in the game. And black is just the queen. So black's queen is fighting by herself. And okay, you can take a pawn. But white first brings black's king up, defends the pawn. And this is a mating net. And now white is winning clearly enough. So black tries to develop, but it's far too late. The king is going to go for a walk. The rook is going to drop off. That b5 actually was black's best move. But there's nothing to do but suffer. And here,
Wow.
Arseny Nesterov gave up. So
This looks like the kind of an opening that may have come out of the engine championships. You know, they like to set up these unbalanced material positions.
You're right.
Yeah, and because
Usually
it was
when
clearly
the first
preparation
eight
up until deep in there.
Yeah. I could easily see this being set up in an engine competition.
Yeah, fascinating.
After the first 8 moves. So, okie doke. So maybe that in round 1 set the tone. Our next game is Daniel Dubov, who, I meant to set this up to the initial position, who infamously said, this was in the rapid portion, in fact, in the second rapid round. So Dubov has quite clearly declared that he's playing to draw the classical rounds and win in the rapid tie breaks. So Dubov and Meyer drew even fairly quickly in the first round of rapid tie breaks, but Daniel Dubov had prepared something for the second round, and he sprang it here. And apparently, this is called the Dracula Frankenstein variation, or something similar.
Yeah, very famous.
Now, there's going to be a key improvement by Levon Aronian on White's third move.
Oh,
Dubov
Yeah, I
played,
saw that game. It's awesome.
played the natural and inferior bishop c4. And so anyway, so bishop c4 is, well, black can play knight c6. In fact, in beginners' books, okay, I remember reading that bishop c4 is punished by knight takes e4, but maybe that's not the case, and black should simply quietly play knight c6 and transpose into a Vienna two knights hybrid. Well, anyway, so Meyer captured, and now queen h5. Okay, so now there is a line like this that arises in the two knights game, but this is not it. And the real point about this is that white can try to sting black rather than play queen takes e5, which leads to a microscopic edge in an endgame and wouldn't be interesting at all. So I just plays bishop b3. Black plays here, and now here comes the Dracula part, knight b5. Okay, this is, how school kids play. We're going to give checkmate on f7. But
I think it's a caveman chess.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is, however, the engine has woken up. It didn't necessarily see this. When white played bishop b3, let's give the engine a moment to reset on my laptop. The engine says that black should have played bishop e7 to castle as soon as possible. And I have to say that's how I would have played it black. So knight c6 guarding the pawn was a little bit naive. And now knight b5, and now black is actually in trouble. And black gets in further trouble by playing knight f5. Okay. And now white is, well, still playing like a school kid for that scholar's mate, but it drives the knight back to h6. And I can't understand why d4 is given a question mark here. In fact, it is the best move. Never mind. The engine itself is confused. So maybe d3. But anyway, so black plays d6. Okay, so black starts recovering here. Black has the tempo move, bishop e6, important. Stave off the checkmate. And then we get some activity where white is temporarily a piece ahead. But black will recapture that way. Okay, and now the point is that if white captures black's rook, then black does get a counterattack against white. Okay, black plays knight takes d4, and this is going to be fairly embarrassing for white if we play queen c3. And let's see, queen f6, is that? No, we can't play queen f6. Queen g5. You're just going to play queen g5. We're just going to play moves. White's bishop is ultimately going to be trapped. So black is only down at exchange and has two pawns in this position. So this can just be assessed as good. All right. So Meyer was playing two, but white captured the pawn. Black had to play rook g6, and now again, this is more cut and thrust. Okay. So now maybe we could have a calm game. Okay, the engine says 0.00. We have to white plays knight f3. Okay, f6, rook a1. But instead here, rook e1, we get excitement. So it turns out it matters whether you put your king on f7 or f8 in this position. So anyway, king f8. And then that allows white to sacrifice the piece. Should not have been decisive. But on f7, the important point is the king would have been guarding the queen on b6.
Right.
Okay. So more excitement from Dubov, and now queen f6. And the problem is it's not defended. So rook e8 check, elementary combination here, queen c4 check, and done. Queen takes g1 check is happening.
Yeah.
So unfortunate blunder. And let's look at how much time. I mean, Meyer was down to a minute and a half, and they were playing with only 10-second increments in this round. So it was fairly considerable time pressure for black. But, that's the enterprising way to play. Okay, so now let's see the improvement of white's play by Levon Aronian in a classical game against the very solid and strong Radoslav Wojtaszek.
Yeah, this game is existential. I loved watching
Voigt,
this.
Voigt. Yes. A3. So
Yahoo!
important. The point of A3 is to keep Black's knight out of B4 in games where the queens and pieces rove around. At
Yeah,
least
and it
that's
also gives the bishop on c4 in some lines a chance to drop back to a2. So it's not a pointless move.
yeah,
Stops checks on or stops pins on b4.
yeah,
So theory advances.
right. So now normally you would say, okay, the way to punish this move is to play the Scotch reversed, play D4, okay, and but okay, so D5 for Black, I should say. And here we go. And now White strikes out. Okay. Not Dracula Frankenstein, but actually simply a very solid move. And now you see the point that Black's knight can't go to B4 anytime soon.
Yeah, in my college days, I played many tournaments in the Midwest, and there was a famous national master, Bernard Parham, who trained his students to bring the queen out as early on as move two. And these games are very, very much in the style of Bernie Parham. So this takes me way back.
Plus, there's a
Remember,
master who,
young Nakamura used to
right.
play
Yeah. Good
with
point.
H5. Yeah.
Yep. Nakamura used to favor. So this is something to play. I myself, against the Caro-Kann, play E4, C6, Knight C3, D5, and then Queen F3.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's Nava played all the time.
Yeah.
Always. I
So
played these games.
So we have a known line for Black against the Scotch game, but White has the very useful extra tempo A3.
Yeah.
So nevertheless, the engine does say that Black is fine. It's just that these positions are also very difficult to play, even if it's a complete slow classical game. So the engine says Black can keep a tiny plus, whatever, really equality, by playing Queen D6. But Queen D6 allows the queen to get hit. So, you have to by Knight E4. So you have to really know what you're doing. Anyway, Bishop E7. Okay, White White gains a pawn. So now the question is, how much compensation does Black have for the pawn? Certainly a lead in development, and certainly White's king, might be embarrassed because Black can play Bishop F6 and Rook E8 check real quick. So White plays Knight F3, and Black decides to play C5. It's a nice move. Does allow White to castle. Okay, but Aronian's not in a castling mood, at least not on the king side.
Mhm.
So White plays D3. Okay, Bishop B7. Perfectly logical again. Bishop E3, and now the most natural move is Rook E8. Engine thinks it's a slip. And Engine thinks it's a slip because White can castle on the queen side. Yes, we castle on the queen side. And Queen D5. Now, this is an illusion. Okay, so it looks like Black is going to get something by playing Queen A2. But Queen A2 actually doesn't work. Well, it leads to a very complicated position. I want to show this variation and make sure I'm not missing anything with the engine as well. I played this over once before. So Black can play Queen A2. Okay, now engine claims large advantage with White by Bishop C5. Okay, now we capture. We're going to win the B pawn, but we have to exchange the bishop on F7 first, else White is going to play Rook B1 and skewer the queen to the bishop. So we do that too. Okay. Now Black is 2 pawns down, so we want to win one of those pawns back. Okay. And now I don't think I missed anything in the window. What happens next, according to the engine, White can play Rook E3, and maybe that's what really needs examined.
Nice.
But so Rook E3 might be the best move, but the engine line leads to this queen ending that is kind of hard to see. I guess So the point is, queen endings are losing more often than rook endings. Put rooks on the board, and I would expect this maybe to end in a draw. Although I don't know, the c7 black might go 2 points down. But with queens on the board, this probably really should be just judged winning for white. Black can play queen b7, king e2. It is an extra pawn, and white's queen is very powerful. So actually, yeah. So if you had rooks on the board, maybe black would be optimistic about drawing this, but I would assess this kind of position as a win for the side with the queen. So anyway, black did not do that. Black played queen f5, and now we're going to get positional. Okay, so white allows black to regain the pawn. Okay, well, white has preserved a pawn ahead, and now it's a question of, are black's two bishops enough compensation? And Aronian now starts a masterclass of tying black up, showing that black does not have compensation. So white does have very good pieces on the C file. Comes up. So now, again, black's bishops look active, but they kind of helter skelter. And white is simply going to play with the 4 versus 2 on the queen side. So black tries to get king side, but a mark of the difficulty here is that natural moves are bad. Nothing could be more natural than king g6, yet black missed an opportunity to play c5 and prevent white's d pawn from coming in. Mm-hmm. So now c6 is black's natural idea, but it's poorly timed. It allows white to take over d6, okay, because capturing the bishop is going to lose something on a6. So now white has this nice passed pawn, and now white has tied black up. So this is, white has lots of time, only black is feeling a little bit of time pressure. And of course, you need some concrete calculation here. So the amazing thing is black's bishop on e8 is so far out of play that white has this nice move, knight c5, and black is going to be completely powerless to stop the pawn. Okay, so bishop d7 loses a piece when white goes b7 and then captures on d7 with the knight, but that's the only thing black can do. So anyway, so black thrashed around for a little while, but it's and it actually even equalized the material, but black is actually lost in this position, whether black lost on time or just decided to throw in the towel. White is going to capture on a6 and move the a pawn through. So so there we go. If we have time for one more game, Aronian played another interesting game just this morning where he was put under pressure by Erigaisi, but held his cool, and so this now is going to be more normal chess. But even here, there's a twist. Knight d7. Dan, do you know this opening? Is this something?
Yeah, I've goofed around with this opening a little bit. I guess it's a way to get out of the bookish Slav positions. Knight d7 is usually played after a c6 here, and playing it early, I think, avoid some of the more tactical variations.
Right. So, but anyway, white just plays chess. And now the other point of knight d7, though, is that it allows black to hang on to a pawn grimly here. So black captures on c4 and plays knight b6. Mm-hmm. So the engine is giving white a half pawn advantage. So you have to really know strategically what it is that you're doing as black to prepare this. And Aronian comes through quite well. So I don't think there's any point where we'll say Aronian was lost, but he is eventually going to be a pawn down in a rook ending. So white again is just white's exercising pressure and is now able to win back the pawn. So as white, you decide, do I win back the pawn and grant black a little bit of relief, or just find ways to play in the center? with so the engine wants white to build up slowly on the king side with h3 and f3. I would consider building up not so slowly with f4, but maybe the a4 hanging is something bad. Anyway, white captures. Okay, and this must still be Aronian's preparation. Okay, to strike a blow for freedom with e5. c5 isn't bad either. Okay, so the character of the position, okay, is that black actually could easily have ceded the two bishops to white by capturing on c3, but white instead cedes the two bishops to black to wreck black's pawns. So black now has to play actively before white gets too much of a clamp on the king side. And there's a little nicety here. It actually would have been more accurate for black to play king h8 first, so that bishop takes h7 would not be check, and rook g8 is possible in some lines. And the engineer thinks that black is completely fine, but Aronian played queen c6 first, and then after e5 and takes, this comes with check, and it gives white a moment to withdraw the bishop. Okay, now here's where it begins becoming very tactical. Rook g8 is also possibly a slight slip, although setting up a mate threat. So the engine wants black to play rook f e8, which is just too subtle for me. Why would I take the rook away from the king side? What's the point of having a rook on e8? Well, it transpires actually that it gives black more options on how to recapture or push the pawn past in some positions, push the e pawn to e4. So anyway, so now white captures, and now we see the result is black's queen is lined up on the e file. The material's even, but white's going to win something. So now white has won a pawn. And we have a rook ending. So Russian schoolboy adage, all rook endings are drawn. Might not be the case here, though. So there is one way that white had to improve in a short while from now. Let's see, where was it? Where is it? Oh no, maybe it is. Oh yeah, it is coming up. So, so black has definite counterplay. White is guarding things. White's rook had to move to the very awkward square of g4 in order to maintain contact with g3. Black's going to win the pawn in a4, but white can counterattack. So black instead withdraws. And now this is the one position, the only position where maybe Erigaisi should have switched gears and tried pushing the h pawn and bringing the king to the king side with as a 3 versus 1. Instead, rook e6 is natural, but it allows black to functionally equalize the game right away with enough pestering of white's king that white actually doesn't have any nice advances to make here. So Erigaisi gave perpetual check. So anyway, so that's
a strange game.
Yeah. It got at least a real fight. I mean, there was one decisive game and an end game in today's round over Frederick Svan, who was the winner of that game.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a shame that Aronian and Erigaisi are meeting so early in.
Right.
Yeah. Each one had potential to win the tournament, and whoever wins that match will be a clear favorite to win it all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not by much, but still a favorite, in my opinion. Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much for today's program, and looking forward to next week. We'll see even many more interesting games. And
Okay.
have a great weekend, and see you next week, same place, same time.
Thank you. Yep. Okay.
All right. Bye, everyone.
And have good travels. Yep. Okay. Okay. Good. Yeah.